It's time for Lefties Losing It, and in further proof that you can never be far left enough for the increasingly crazy modern left, songstress and leftist activist Billie Eilish is being accused of racism and celebrating whiteness because she said this during her Dublin show over the weekend.
As you guys know, I'm Irish, so it's really cool to come somewhere and like everybody looks exactly like you, and you're all just as tasty as me.
Yep, for saying it's really cool to come somewhere where everyone looks exactly like you, she's being accused of being an ethno-nationalist. You know, I was feeling terribly sorry for the girl, but then I remembered this.
We are voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz because they are fighting to protect our reproductive freedom, our planet, and our democracy. Vote like your life depends on it, because it does.
Yep, you pander to the crazy, Billy. Don't be surprised when the crazy come for you. And that's a lesson actress Sydney Sweeney is learning the hard way. You see, the predictably lefty Hollywood type is now being called a Nazi promoting white supremacist because of this ad for clothing brand American Eagle.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very Keens.
Yep, that's it. That's the so-called racist dog whistle heralding in a new era of white supremacy, if the crazy progressives are to be believed. And the meltdown is frankly too big to fully detail in this segment. Hundreds, if not thousands, of enraged videos online posted in response to that ad. And there are plenty of articles on this too, including this from MSNBC saying Sydney Sweeney's ad shows an unbridled cultural shift towards whiteness. Advertisements are always mirrors of society, and sometimes what they reflect is ugly and startling. And the calls for boycotts have already started.
Don't forget to boycott American Eagle for their racist online, talking about blue jeans and white people. Boycott American Eagle. Boycott the out of them. Boycott American Eagle. Do not buy them. And cancel this person, Ms. Sweeney. Cancel for her being racist, for doing Nazi propaganda. Cancel American Eagle.
Now, this next woman was reduced to tears by the ad.
And I don't know why. Maybe because it's just so blatant. I keep thinking that people just are not going to believe us until we're hung out there.
And the ad is being described among the left as Nazi propaganda.
Those Sydney Sweeney American Eagle ads are weird, like fascist weird, like Nazi propaganda weird.
My body's composition is determined by my genes. Hey, eyes up here.
Should we be surprised that a company whose name is literally American Eagle is making fascist propaganda like this? Probably not, but it's still really shocking. Like, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman is talking about her good genes. Like, that is Nazi propaganda.
Oh, what can you say? Apparently this ad is so grotesquely racist that it's going to end up in the history books.
You guys are complaining about that Sydney Sweeney jeans ad, so I went and saw it.
That's Nazi propaganda. Wow.
I thought it was gonna be like kind of bad.
That's gonna be in history books.
And now even the celebs are joining in the pile-on. Here is Doja Cat mocking Sydney Sweeney.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
And let's check in with Democrat Cory Booker having an almighty meltdown on the Senate floor. It was a wide-ranging meltdown. He even accused fellow Democrats of bowing to President Donald Trump. Let's have a look at just a little snippet of this theatrical tantrum.
That's why I'm standing here. Don't question my integrity. Don't question my motives. I'm standing for Jersey. I am standing for my police officers. I'm standing for the Constitution, and I'm standing for what's right. And dear God, if you want to come at me that way, you're going to have to take it up with me, because there's too much on the line right now in America. As people's due process rights and freedom of the speech rights and secret police are running around this country, picking people up off the streets who have a legal right to be here. There's too much going on in this country.
Joining me now is documentary filmmaker and commentator Ami Horowitz. Ami, Corey really cares about his city and his police officers, he says there, but his antics there actually delayed a bipartisan police funding package.
Yeah, crazy-eyed Booker strikes again. By the way, looks like he put in a couple of LBs since the last time I saw him. Look, his grandstanding is so exhausting. Corey, fetch ain't gonna happen. You know, one thing I learned in life, Rita, is that the ladies don't like thirsty. And he just comes across as so thirsty. He wants it so badly. Look, he said, don't question my motives. Okay, fine. Let's assume that he's for real. This is not grandstanding. This is a real deal. In that case, he's emblematic of the problems of the Democratic Party. He's standing against a bill that helps with policing and immigration, right? Look, bro, have you seen the polls recently? The Democrats have a 63% unfavorable rating. That is the lowest or the highest unfavorable they've had in 30 years, okay? This is why they lost the election. Trump's biggest problem poll-wise, the biggest headwinds he has is on trade. He's underwater on trade. You know what, Rita? He's still 8% ahead of the Democrats on that issue, okay? They're losing on every issue. No, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. They're actually up on vaccines, okay? The people trust the Democrats on vaccines more. Great. They want a cookie? Look, they're so bad at this. You know, there was a time where we thought the Democrats thought they're going to have an unassailable electorate, right? At the black community, the Hispanic community, the browning of America was going to give them a lead, a stranglehold on the elections forever. Well, guess what? They've lost even their main coalition because they can't focus and fix on the blocking and tackling of politics. You can't keep them safe. The cities are dangerous, and you can't allow them to earn a living. This is why the Democrats have a problem. This is why Cory Booker has a problem.
Now, before we move on to more serious issues, let's check in on US President Donald Trump. He was under pressure here. He was in front of a big crowd, huge media contingent, and this is the first tee shot at his new golf course, Trump Scotland. Let's see how he went.
The 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. Yay.
Well done, Mr. President.
I understand that was the first tee shot at that course. I'm not a golfer, Army. I don't know much about it, but the golfers tell me that was a great shot, around 300 yards. He's 79 years old. I mean, we saw the last president, how age caught up with him, the cognitive decline. It doesn't seem to be an issue with this president, despite his advanced years.
Look, in 1925, Bobby Jones, the great golfer, famously called on himself a one-stroke penalty, which threw him out of a first-place tie and ultimately led to him losing that U.S. Open. Look, do I think President Trump has a 2 handicap like he says? No. I mean, I'll tell you a little secret. Everyone cheats a little bit on golf, okay? But he's 80 years old. If I can golf like he does now, as he at 80 years old, I'll take it, okay? Look, I remember I was laughing during the 2016 presidential Republican debates when he kept saying low energy Jeb. It's like, what a dumb line of attack. You know what? Oh my God, now I realize what he was talking about. The man at 80 years old is so high energy. He's able to accomplish so much in direct comparison to the person who preceded him. Joe Biden can't walk in a straight line. And look at President Trump hitting off the tee. I don't know if he hit 300 yards. 300 yards is a pretty significant hit, but it was a pretty good swing and a pretty good hit. I can't do that. Kudos to him.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded pretty good. That's all I can say. I don't know much about golf. Now, let's get to a more serious issue. Let's look at Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu losing in the court of public opinion in America. Let's listen to this report from CNN.
His net favorable rating. It is the lowest on record, according to Gallup, and they have records going all the way back since the 1990s. What are we talking about here? Well, in April of 2019, before, obviously, Israel in Gaza and the latest war that's been going on for a long time, Benjamin Netanyahu was on the positive side at plus 13 points. Look at where he is today, minus 23 points. My goodness gracious. You look at those under the age of 35, his net favorable rating at this point, get this, 53 points underwater. My God. And this, of course, has everything to do with Israel's actions in Gaza. The American people at this particular point not exactly liking what they're seeing, and they believe that Benjamin Netanyahu is in large part responsible.
Army, how important is that? Israel obviously needs America's support, so public opinion in America is not an inconsequential issue. And when you look at those 18 to 34-year-old figures, minus 53%, is that something to be concerned about?
It is, absolutely. Look, those polls are real, right? That's not a fake spinning by CNN. It's a problem for Israel. Look, but the issue that Israel really has is they are fighting this victimhood and emotion-based narrative, and those are very hard things to fight. Look, they're fighting against somebody who's looking at these very terrible images, right? And it's very difficult to try to create an argument against that, even though Israel is the moral right. But there's no question that the media is helping push a lot of these images and narratives. And let's take, for example, what's going on in this whole idea of starvation in Gaza, right? We're hearing a lot about that recently. And it's being pushed, obviously, by the mainstream media, including CNN. And I think we have to understand a few things here, just to clarify what's going on. First of all, Israel does not control all the borders of Gaza. So we're 100% clear on that. They don't control the southern border of Gaza, Rafah crossing. Egypt controls that. Israel doesn't have a single soldier on that border. Egypt can bring in whatever they want into Gaza, okay? And I know that you were told there'll be no math on this show, but let me give you a little bit of the math, okay? First of all, Israel has delivered 1 million tons of food aid, over 1 million tons. The Egyptians have delivered a third of that, actually less than a third of that. This is their co-religionists. These are their Arab brothers. And the World Food Program did an estimate that in order to keep Gazans with enough food to sustain themselves, they need 62,000 tons a month. And guess what? If you multiply that over the years of the war, that ends up to a little over 1 million metric tons of food. Miraculously, magically, Israel has delivered almost exactly that amount. Yet, the story that they're pushing continuously is Israel's trying to starve Gaza, the genocide. And now they're pushing this new thing. I think we saw also the horrifying images of this child that looks skeletal. It's horrible, right? The images, obviously, I feel terrible for him and his family. But at the end of the day, sorry.
I know, and they've acknowledged that image was actually not what it seemed. But, of course, the damage is done once that reporting is out there. But I just want to play you this next bit because I think this is also very important about how public opinion has changed on this issue since 2017 on who Americans sympathise with more.
For the longest period of time, Americans have sympathized more with the Israelis than the Palestinians. That's still the case, but it's only by +5. You go back to May of 2024, it was +17. Right after October 7th, look at this, it was +48. In 2017, it was +39 points. That is a dramatic drop. That is, what is that, a 43-point drop since the aftermath of October 7th. And again, under the age of 50, you look at those younger voters, it was +38 Israelis back, all the way back in 2017. You look now, it is +19 Palestinians. There has simply put been a complete change of opinion on this topic.
Again, Army, complete change of opinion there. And when you look at those younger voters, the figures are even more stark.
Yeah, no, it's a problem. It's not good. Let's be honest about it. Those numbers are dramatic. There's been a dramatic shift in public opinion in the U.S., and Israel needs the U.S. It's this #1 allies, no question about it. You cannot afford to lose the American people. Americans historically have always been very supportive, as those numbers showed. I think Israel has to take those into consideration as it prosecutes the war. I really do. They can't be tone deaf to that. And look, I got to say, these numbers can be turned around, but while those numbers are real, it's CNN and the other players in the mainstream media that have been pushing these anti-Israel narratives, which have led to the decrease in support of the U.S. polling. And that's really what it comes down to.
It's having a huge impact, Army. Absolutely. You're 100% right there, Army Horowitz. Thank you so much for your time.